Hi, and welcome to Paranormal Response. My name is Sarah,
I'm Christy.
and we have a special guest tonight.
Miles Lewis.
Welcome, Miles.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you here. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm one of those people who is obsessed with strange phenomena, and all my life I've had a passion for subjects ranging from consciousness, what is it, to what are its capabilities, and of course growing up on science fiction I heard lots of stories about the powers of the mind and the probability of extraterrestrials, and so just had an intense interest in the paranormal and particularly UFOs, and that kind of led me on a path that's been a long and interesting road. I've been the local state section director for the Mutual UFO Network here in Austin, Texas for a time.
Nice.
I also led a local UFO abductee support group and study group that was founded by an abductee, and when she decided to move away, she asked me to take over the reins of that group, and I did so for several years.
Was that here
That was
in
here
Austin? Okay. Losing my voice.
And in 2001, I organized the best UFO conference never.
Oh,
It didn't happen. It was supposed to happen at the original Alamo Draft House. It was going to be a 3-day, 3-night extravaganza with live music, science fiction films, and a whole plethora of UFO speakers from around the country and the world. And unfortunately, the events of September 11th happened, and I couldn't bring them in because it was scheduled for that following weekend.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. But despite that, continued on, ended up meeting up with a local group of researchers into consciousness, and have ever since been serving on the board of local nonprofits that are interested in parapsychology and all these strange and interesting phenomena. So it's
very
kind of
interesting.
the very beginnings.
What started you, like when you were young and you got into sci-fi a little bit, or what really
or
triggered
did you have
you?
an experience?
Yeah.
I'd say that I had a number of psychic experiences as a child that I think are pretty typical, nothing too exotic. I often tell people that I think it was an ability to recall my dreams more than others that really kind of got me on the path of interest in the paranormal. To me, the dream state is one of the most paranormal states that everybody experiences on a regular basis, and yet it's very little understood, just like the mind itself is very little understood. That and small personal paranormal experiences, several precognitive dreams and visions. I was raised by a single mother who I had a deep empathetic relationship with, and there were several instances where over some distance she perceived that I was in distress. There were times where we would seemingly communicate without words, and there's a number of mundane possible explanations for these things, but they kept leading me to think that there was more to reality than met the eye, or that we were taught about in public schools. And no real dramatic ghost or UFO encounters as a kid, or really even in most of my life, but an intense interest and desire to hear such stories. And during high school, I really got into UFOs hot and heavy, and started devouring every book I could get my hands on. I was raised believing, like so many people, that the government was covering up some dark secret about the nature of the UFO phenomena, that they had crash saucers and pickled aliens, and but at some point I started looking beyond that. There were several writers and researchers whose work really made me look to other alternative explanations, and the different areas that I've investigated, none of them are necessarily mutually exclusive. They don't, rule out the possibility of UFOs being extraterrestrial. But
And I did a show on Greys, which was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And there are theories that they're not extraterrestrial; they're subterranean.
right.
And I don't know what to really like if I subscribe to that belief. But we've also had a person on the show who completely believes that. And he talked about how he has proof of it and whatever.
Was it Freeman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he doesn't mind us throwing his name
Freeman.
out there, because he has a website that
Yeah,
you
he
go
does.
to and stuff too.
But I'm just very interested. She says I'm the UFO girl. I'm not really. I want to be, but I don't know that much about
She
it.
knows
I've just
more about
read.
it than I do.
Yeah,
So.
but so what's your take on that?
On the idea of the grays being subterranean. Well, when you read the UFO literature and the parapsychological literature and the metaphysical and occult literature, there's story after story of subterranean civilizations, whether or not they're akin to the Atlantis and Lemuria myths or not, could be debated. But that it's a recurring theme that I think has some validity. I mean, the sheer size and scope of the potential space is rather monumental, and there are a number of stories of people who've been found who claim to have come from some inner Earth, or who whose whereabouts that was what they were found near caves and that sort of thing. On the other hand, I think that in the birthing of the modern UFO era, there with the contactees, the people who were claiming contact with the Space Brothers and the Venusians and Martians and so forth, there also came a lot of references to Eastern ideas about Agartha, this underground city. Perfectly honest, I don't really put much stock in that idea. At the same time, though, there's an idea that's described by a young UFO researcher who unfortunately passed away last year. His book is about to be published, and it's called Crypto-Terrestrials. And this is a play on the idea espoused by another person who passed away last year named John Keel. John Keel is much more widely known, especially because of his book, The Mothman Prophecies, which was made into a very popular and very powerful movie. Keel posited the idea that the UFO phenomena represented ultra-terrestrials, that these beings are here and have powers beyond our science level right now and in times past, and that they traverse what some folks have described as the super spectrum, that they're moving through energy levels that aren't always visible to us, and that when they do become visible, that's when we have the sightings, and that they may in fact be around us all the time. But that idea of ultra-terrestrials, as developed by this other researcher, Mac Toney's, in his idea about crypto-terrestrials, is simply that, this is something that I assert, the one thing we know about UFOs is that they've been here as long as we have. And that whatever it is, it's been with us throughout history, it's been interacting with us, has been fomenting most of the world's religions and spiritual and metaphysical movements and occult beliefs.
Yeah.
And a lot of those occult beliefs have to do with, that's John Alva Keel, who just passed away.
Oh.
A lot of these ideas have to do with them being somehow connected to the Earth. My own ideas about the true nature of the UFO phenomena incorporate some ideas about what pagans refer to as Gaia, and the idea that there's an Earth component. Another area that I'm fascinated by is the Earth lights phenomena, these luminous phenomena that seem to be generated by tectonic stresses. But
Like Marfa lights and that kind of thing? Or?
I just watched
Again,
a show on that last night.
and yeah, I know y'all have done a show on with Max Dropper.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, one of the events that one of the organizations I'm involved with put on a few years ago was called the Texas Ghost Lights Mini Conference, and Marfa has them, but so does East Texas, and the Big Thicket has these mysterious ghost lights. They're seen around the world, around the United States, in various locations. They tend to be geographically specific, and those lights may or may not